in Fiji and other places who don't provide democratic rights. And the Human Rights Commissioner very clearly said, we stand up for democracy, Mr Chair.
The Honourable Damien O'Connor.
Mr Chair, I am very pleased to have a call on this speech, on this debate, Mr Speaker. As representative for West Coast Tasman, we are very conscious of the health and well-being of our visitors over the hill, as we say, in Canterbury there, and are alarmed, of course, by what is happening in the House here. Mr Chairman, I will focus on the three clauses here, and the one word I go to, following on from my colleague here, Mr Williams, is that temporary is something that we assume is for a short period of time. The concern we have is that we've heard many assurances given from originally the Minister, Nick Smith. You can't trust much of what he says on most things, I have to say, but particularly in this area where he has proven in black and white in this House time and time again to the public of Canterbury, to the public of the West Coast, to everyone, that he was not going to allow the continuation of something. It was, in his words, temporary, but indeed by anyone else's definition it would not be. Mr Speaker, I go to temporary. It says briefly, impermanently, not permanently, transitionally. Mr Speaker, the issue is that by anyone's definition this is not temporary. 6 years, by my previous colleague's assessment, if we can trust that.
Yeah, well, that's right.
How can we trust this piece of legislation given the assurances from the mouth of Nick Smith, from the horse's mouth himself? He gave us assurances, and yet as in fact as a court of law has said about that minister or member as it was, of course you can't trust what comes from his mouth, Mr Speaker. And this piece of legislation initiated by him, assurances given by him, is in the House, and the government expects us, myself as MP for West Coast Tasman, the good people of Canterbury, the MPs from Canterbury, the MPs from the South Island, to trust the government. Oh, this is temporary. Well, Mr Speaker, as clause 1, 2 and 3 do, in terms of the title, the Commencement of the Principal Act, the fact that if to temporary commissioners and improve water quality or water management, Mr Speaker, we don't know whether in fact these are permanent appointments that will just be rolled on. And dare I say, the outcome of the next election might determine whether the title of this bill is indeed accurate or whether it is as misleading as the assurances given by the Minister Nick Smith at the time.
Very good.
So we have an obligation here as representatives in the South Island, as Her Majesty's opposition, to challenge the government for indeed putting through legislation and putting through a title that is misleading or could be misleading. And so once it, again, Mr Chairman, it comes back to, and we've raised it, dare I say, time and time again in speeches in the House, how can we trust this government? Because up and down the country, local government, territorial local authorities, TLAs, and the Minister will have spoken to them. He'll be getting it in the ear, I'm sure, as he goes around trying to patch up the mess left by the Honourable Nick Smith. Trying to patch it up, trying to build some confidence back. There's indeed a collaboration of South Island mayors and TLAs, because they know they have to lobby the government to get a fair deal, to get even temporary relief from some of the pressures from central government, the fact that the government's now going to say, oh, you're not going to be able to put up your rates, but you're going to have to do this and this and this. But we won't allow you to do any social programs in your community. I've got people jumping up and down now, and where Tasman District Council is pulling back on social programs because the government is saying quite clearly that's what you have to do, Mr Chairman, and indeed they don't know where this government is going with local government reform. And the title in this bill here saying temporary commissioners for Canterbury, in my view, in my cynical view, my suspicious view, is that it's misleading, because the government intends after the next election to push through and appoint more commissioners up and down this country wherever TLAs dare question the government's objectives, Mr.
Call you
Chairman.
senior sage.
What a misnomer.